already sacrificing individual movies being complete pieces just so we can watch a giant interconnected narrative, then the story at least needs to be easy to understand and not a massive commitment to follow.
And after all of this, Thor Ragnarok was the project that Christian Bale chose to join the MCU in? Sorry, Christian Bale, but we saw this movie and we did not like it.
Sorry.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
It was bad.
No, shut the fuck up.
Now, the multiverse is getting a little
Christian Bale
crowded, but
clip is
potentially
fucking
one of the
hilarious.
biggest franchises of all time managed to avoid this and stay in one timeline. One that takes place in a galaxy far, far away.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Shrek.
No, I meant Star Wars.
Oh, really?
For decades, Star Wars was a simple and clean franchise for the general public. Yes, they had an extended universe, but that's for nerds and we don't care.
Nice. What, you're gonna make me read about Star Wars? It's a movie! From 1977 to 2008, there were a total of 6 Star Wars movies and 1 animated TV show. And as somebody who's not a Star Wars fanatic but enjoys it frequently, this is an extremely easy commitment to see them live in theaters and rewatch them every few years.
Today, there are 11 movies with 4 more on the way. There are also 10 Star Wars TV shows with 24 seasons.
Hold on, I
Now,
gotta
of
blast
course,
off
this is
on
partially
Instagram.
due to time passing and fans wanting
alright.
more content.
We had
to be
audio
honest,
issues
getting another
earlier.
trilogy of movies, getting 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, and allowing Dave Filoni to make The Clone Wars for big fans of the franchise was just fine. Because when the sequels came out, you only had to do a 6-movie marathon, but mostly the
Give us a
original
second.
3 to
We're
catch
watching
up.
this
But let's say you
Chandler
hadn't watched
Burback
any Star
video.
Wars, but you
Just
watched The
enjoy it while
Mandalorian
we,
because somebody
blast off.
recommended it, and also Baby Yoda is cute as hell. The Mandalorian had the
Baby
ability to be an
Yoda.
in-universe show that didn't require other materials at all to enjoy. And then, they completely destroyed that. For example, if you were watching Season 2, they dedicated an episode to introducing Ahsoka. Ahsoka was one of the main characters of the animated show The Clone Wars that took place between 2 of the prequel movies. She has a bunch of backstory that's covered throughout the show, and she even showed up in another animated show, Rebels. But The Mandalorian was the first time she was shown in live action.
Aren't you glad that Ahsoka's live action now, though?
I mean, I didn't really watch The Clone Wars, so I don't really know who that is.
Okay, well, let's say you did, and let's say that you're happy to see Ahsoka finally in live action.
Then thank you
For
for bringing Ahsoka back.
Ahsoka. Ahsoka with an A. Ah.
Thank you for bringing Ahsoka back.
You're welcome.
Like we said before, we're pretty average consumers when it comes to this stuff, but we've also watched and played a ton of Star Wars content.
We've rewatched the movies, played the Lego games growing up, watched the Clone Wars, some of Rebels, played Battlefront 2 a ton, and up until recently kept up with The Mandalorian. And at this point, we are so tired with Star Wars. Holy shit.
Jesus, yeah.
It's just too much.
It's way too much. Other than Andor, which was fantastic, I just can't be bothered to be excited by Star Wars alone anymore.
We love Dave Filoni, but after the experience with Marvel, we just can't commit to another Disney Plus story that requires seasons of television and movies just to keep up with what's going on. And The Mandalorian is a perfect example for why these universes are actually pretty bad for human storytelling and art. Jon Favreau, one of the creators of Mandalorian and also the person who birthed the MCU with Iron Man in 2008, said himself that The Mandalorian doesn't have an ending planned. He said it's not like there's a finale we're building to, because at the end of the day, this is not about storytelling. It is about business. And I know that's not a surprise to most of you, but to some people, it is. A good story is planned out. A good story has meaning to it. And to drive that meaning home, the story needs an end. Look at Game of Thrones, for example. A show that was beloved by so many people and now cannot even be rewatched by those people because the ending was so bad they felt like the rest of the story was totally meaningless. And I think what's so frustrating is some of these comic book movies can be art. Across the Spider-Verse just came out and was fantastic and is an achievement in art in so many different ways. But obviously we know these companies are not gonna stop making the money that they make. I mean, for the love of God, we didn't even get to touch on the DCEU and the Flash because, I mean, Tony, I think we just don't want to, right?
Yeah, they're just boring to talk about.
So for the love of God,
audio.
at
We
least
apologize.
slow down a little bit. Take your time. Make it less of a commitment for the rest of us. Give CGI artists a little bit of time to work on these movies to make them look better. Give your writers more time to make a story that's cohesive. And maybe at least try to have an individual message and personal touch to each movie. Because we are all so so tired. So at this point for us, it's just too exhausting, and it'll be pretty hard to get us to go to the theater and actually see a Marvel movie. Even if you add a talented A-list actor like Christian Bale, I'm probably just gonna watch the movie on a flight. So sorry, Christian Bale.
Sorry, Christian.
Fucking kick your fucking ass. You don't shut up.
Oh, and thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring this video.
2 teenagers are dead after a shooting in Braintree, Massachusetts. Police say 19-year-old Jaden Santos Andrade and 16-year-old Jazier Porter were found in a parked car with gunshot wounds.
Holy shit, sorry. That is just trigger warning. Holy crap. Alright, we just needed to check the audio to make sure it was popping and not literally popping like it was before. So, because it was just absolutely atrociously bad. Alright, I think it might be time soon to start the oh my god, start the stream over again. My name is Jamie and I can't play guitar, and today is the daily hangout for June 27th, 2023. We apologize because before we were having audio issues and we realized the stream was pretty much unwatchable the way it was before. So we are back. We have about a minute 20 on the, or an hour 20 on the clock. We're hoping to play some guitar, watch some videos with y'all, and hang out. If you're hanging out, let us know what you're doing in the chat, or, you know, you don't have to. But we're going to be, this is our daily excuse to play guitar for at least half an hour and hopefully longer today. I've already dicked around for quite some time. I was trying to start about 2 hours ago, but I've had a litany of issues with the stream. So we're back, and we're going to watch a video called How KFC's War on Arby's Ruined American Healthcare. No, really, by More Perfect Union. Let's pop off.
I want to tell you the story of how a failed pitch for Kentucky roast beef, yeah, that's KFC, but for roast beef, ruined the entire American healthcare system. I'm Sean, this is the Classroom Union, and this is the video that got me madder than any other one I've ever worked on. Seriously, I've seen so many examples of greed and profit over people, but none of them have gotten me as viscerally angry as this one. This animation is completely accurate. This is the story of the rise of HCA.
I'm gonna check the audio
Healthcare,
again.
the first major for-profit hospital chain. Yes, for-profit hospital chain. It was founded by 2 members of the Frist family in 1968. The corporate greed stuff that we talk about in our other videos, like monopolies or exploiting welfare programs, fraud, prioritizing shareholder returns over everything else, financialization of what should be a human right. Well, I'm not usually an SNL clip kind of guy, but
This place has everything.
today HCA operates 182 hospitals nationwide, many of which are the only healthcare provider in their locality. So in lots of cases, if you want to live, you have to trust HCA. But even if you don't rely on an HCA hospital, your life is deeply affected by what the Frist family has done in the name of enriching themselves and their shareholders, manipulating American healthcare policy in a way that helps them and hurts everyone else. Let's go back to the 1960s, Tennessee. Dr. Thomas Frist Sr., a cardiologist, runs a hospital, Parkview, in Nashville. He's a part of the Nashville medical business scene, which is a big thing. Lots of our current healthcare industry came out of that city and that time. Also among Nashville's well-to-do is Jack Massey, a friend of Frist's who works in a very different business: chicken. Massey bought Kentucky Fried Chicken from Colonel Sanders, like the actual guy, then a small business, and turned it into what it is today. His main strategy? Aggressive expansion and consolidation to push out the competition: local eateries and small businesses. But there was one enemy Massey couldn't defeat: Arby's. Kentucky Fried Chicken didn't sell roast beef. So he put together a plan for Kentucky Roast Beef, a new subsidiary that he hoped would push Arby's out of the market. And who did he want to run it? A young doctor at the beginning of his career who had an interest in business: Thomas Frist Jr., the other one's son. Massey wrote Jr. a note on this brochure: chicken, beef, or medicine. Make your decision soon.
What?
Frist Jr. took it a step further. What if they took the aggressive expansion and consolidation of KFC and Massey's ideas for KRB and applied it to hospitals? Frist Sr. said in his oral history that his son came to him and asked, "Daddy, let's start a chain of hospitals like Holiday Inn." Like as if he was the little rich girl from Willy Wonka.
Hey, Daddy, I want an Oompa Loompa. I want you to get me an Oompa Loompa right away.
He continued, "Banks are together, filling stations are together, grocery stores are together. Why can't we put hospitals together? Economy of scale means so much." Frist Sr. and Jr. joined forces with Massey and started the Hospital Corporation of America in 1968. As all that was happening, in D.C., groundbreaking healthcare policy was being passed, leading up to LBJ signing Medicare into law in 1965.
Millions do not now have protection or security against the economic effects of sickness. And the time has now arrived for action.
Medicare is great. Our government should be
son's
offering
rolling all
healthcare
around.
plans for its citizens. But the original law was set up in a way that opened up for abuse by private hospitals. The payment system of original Medicare was called Cost Plus. Medicare reimbursed all hospitals for the cost of the actual care, plus 2% extra for capital improvements. So when a Medicare patient was treated, the healthcare provider would get reimbursed what it actually cost, plus a little extra for building their for-profit business.
Medicare does provide a steady stream of revenue to a hospital. Just imagine the money it could make.
And beyond for-profit institutions being allowed to participate at all, they also got an additional 1.5% over nonprofits for capital payment for return on investment. Yeah, the American taxpayer was directly giving money to the shareholders of for-profit hospitals like HCA and funding their expansion. Any major new building for a company like HCA
couldn't still
is
be
risk-free
kinda happening
for the
now,
investor.
could
Only
it?
the taxpayer was taking a risk. These provisions were added at the request of two major lobbying groups, the Federation of American Hospitals and the American Nursing Home Association. The Federation of American Hospitals was largely run by people involved with HCA and others in the Nashville healthcare scene, which is a whole thing. All part of the cartel that Massey and the Frists were involved in. The legislation was also heavily influenced by the President's Commission on Aging, which Frist Sr. was also a member. He said in his oral history, "My interest in hospitals, nursing homes, and retirement centers was greatly accelerated when I became a member of the President's National Committee on Aging." So, seeing the way that Medicare was shaping up influenced Frist to go into the for-profit hospital business. He saw an opportunity. It was all a brilliantly staged heist of taxpayer dollars. By the early 80s, for-profit healthcare providers were sucking up 40% of all capital reimbursements from the government, even though they were only 7.6% of expenses. That's all profit. HCA grew incredibly rapidly, building new hospitals and sapping up smaller hospital chains, nonprofit hospitals, and even apartment buildings and hotels to add to their empire.
My son.
Hospitals acquired by HCA also.
So, really quickly, we're just going to go on a quick break. We'll see you in a sec. 2 or 3 minutes, hopefully. But you never know. If he's up, it could be longer.
costs the taxpayer significantly more money.
Alright,
The
we're
Government Accountability Office investigation of HCA's first ever acquisition showed during the first year after the acquisition, the 54 acquired hospitals' costs
Okay, hold on
increased
one
by about $55 million. This is especially chilling when you look at today. Medicare for All opponents say it would be too expensive. But why is Medicare so expensive? Because for-profit companies exploit it.
Okay, normally I like this
In the early
channel.
80s, HCA was hit with tragedy. What Frisk Jr. called one of the most formative moments for HCA. The cost-plus plan of reimbursing hospitals, the one that they were exploiting, was scuttled and switched to a new system, Diagnosis-Related Groups, or DRGs. The DRG system paid healthcare providers specific amounts for similar illnesses and treatments. The hospitals were no longer telling Medicare how much to pay them. Frisk Jr. called this, quote, the failure of the federal government to let the providers keep the gains realized from operating more efficiently. But this meant that some illnesses, some patients, were more profitable than others, which for a for-profit business meant prioritizing the more profitable patients and sending less profitable patients to other hospitals. It also meant cutting costs and cutting entire facilities. Staffing went down, bed counts plummeted. Frisk Jr. even complained that there were too many hospitals and doctors.
Not only do you have an oversupply of hospitals in this country, but you also have another part of the provider system that's oversupplied, and that's doctors, physicians.
But HCA made it through. By 1987, when the New York Times profiled the Frisks, they'd already had a huge influence on the American healthcare system. Frisk Jr. boasted that since HCA was founded, quote, the for-profit companies forced the traditional hospitals to reorganize themselves into a more efficient type of system. To a guy like Jr., more efficient doesn't mean better at providing quality care. It means more profitable. The GAO had it right in their report. Quote, the basic objective of HCA is to expand rapidly enough to achieve a dominant position in the proprietary hospital field, so that future competition is seriously disadvantaged. HCA's plan all along was to become unstoppable, the only healthcare option.
This guy
It's
sucks.
what Massey and Frisk wanted to do to Arby's, and it is what they did to our healthcare system. Monopoly power, that's when you have complete control over a business sector, isn't just bad for the competition, it's bad for everyone. But let's look at healthcare specifically, and what the Frisks call patient capture. A large healthcare company is going to want to own a profitable patient from when they first go to the doctor with a problem to when they're cured.
Dog. Yeah, this is exactly why healthcare should be not private at all. Okay, so let's watch Dream Doesn't Know How to Be Famous while I tune up and do some exercises. Again, we're going to be working out of the Hal Leonard Guitar Method Book 1, which we'll show you in a second. Let's start this Pinely video. Dream Doesn't Know How to Be
Imagine this. You wake up in the middle of the night, and next to your bed, you discover this tiny door that wasn't there before. You open the door, and you start crawling through this tunnel. At this point, you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, this is kind of like that movie, Being John Malkovich. Unless you haven't seen Being John Malkovich, in which case you're probably thinking, what? As you reach the end of the tunnel, you wake up in a body that's not your own. You look into the mirror and you see that you are now a YouTuber, a Minecraft YouTuber with 30 million subs, and you get tens of millions of views for each video that you upload. And you've reached this level of success without anyone, not even your closest friends, knowing what your face even looks like. So this whole situation is pretty weird for you. It's very foreign, but you feel like you gotta capitalize on this somehow, even though you don't really know what to do. This is, in my opinion, the only explanation as to why Dream thought it was a good idea to sell a USB bracelet to his young audience with a bunch of baby pictures of himself. Actually, a lot of the things that Dream has done over the past year have given me that idea of a man who is constantly surprised by how famous he is. Well, I am going to be critiquing this guy quite a bit.
I have paid like no attention to Dream. I think a lot of the YouTubers that I enjoy are like about 5 years-ish younger than me and are like very into Minecraft, which I guess I gotta play. It's not like I've never played it, but I just haven't gotten into it. And I think maybe they're even more than I'm a Sandpiker's age. So just some of them have seen like some of these internet celebrities like Dream and stuff. I just right over my head. But I think Pineley definitely does his research, but seems like maybe he was a Dream fan at one point, or definitely a Minecraft player, enjoyer.
This isn't an attempt to cancel him. There are a lot of videos about that already, and I just don't have a lot to add to that. I just think it's a fascinating look into how unnatural and freakish this level of fame can be. Is there really a proper way to do this, to be this famous? Or is it all just a bunch of nonsense? So I'd say you have a bit of an argumentative nature as a person.
It's weird because I feel like I'm so argumentative, and I just always have been. My go-to whenever somebody criticizes me is always like, oh, what an idiot.
If you want to be famous properly, this element of your existence may cause you some trouble. Soon, you'll feel like spaghetti from all the hot water you'll find yourself in. Luckily enough, you're now sitting in front of a man who's been successful at his job ever since you were an actual 6-year-old. Listening to what he has to say could be quite useful for you, and while he does so jokingly, he does throw in a pretty helpful comment.
Like it leads to like me being an idiot sometimes because I reply to people that I shouldn't reply to.
So people are pestering you and then they get a reaction from you and then they're like, oh, Dream will interact with me and anyone who pesters him.
Maybe this way of operating could hurt you more than anything else. Maybe by interacting with all these people, you're just bringing more hate your way. Maybe, just like you said in your own words, this doesn't really achieve much, but make strangers think that you're a bit dumb. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think you're dumb. That's what he said in the video. Well, it's now been 2 years since you guys had this interaction. Brutal. Let's see if this advice helped.
A fan that happened to be 17 years old replied to Dream, and I will not show their name for obvious reasons, replied and said, they look ugly. Yeah, they quote tweeted this, and it, was doing pretty good numbers. And Dream decided to reply and said, glass houses something something STFU.
Now, hard to think of a more visceral reaction to someone saying that your plushies are ugly than shut the fuck up. Pretty aggressive thing to do, saying shut the fuck up to a 17-year-old in front of millions of your fans who, most of them I'm sure are lovely people, but some of them are known for interacting with haters in a way that would make a 17-year-old private their account because of the, and I quote, terrifying levels of harassment. You've actually made a lot of similar mistakes to this one throughout your time on Twitter. Things that have made a lot of people say, why is this guy on Twitter this much? What is he doing? A few months ago, a creator called Quackity had launched a Minecraft server called the QSMP. The main draw of that server is that it would include creators who both speak Spanish and English, creating content in this bilingual form.
Sounds cool. Sounds awesome.
Finding out about this was quite a big blow to you, as for the past few months, you've been hilariously working on a concept that's pretty similar, a server called the USMP, which would have had creators from all over the world who speak a variety of different languages create content together in those different languages. It's a very similar concept. Maybe their personal information was leaked by evil data brokers, same ones who sell your personal information to robocallers and spammers.
No, it's gonna be an ad. It's gonna be an ad. Fuck ads. We are not sponsored. No, we don't like sponsors. Fuck all sponsors. Pineley, we're not gonna fucking shill for your fucking sponsor, Pineley.
This similarity, and because this is your next big project after ending both your biggest series on your channel and your last Minecraft server that was actually one of the biggest Minecraft servers of all time in terms of just like general popularity. But you digress. From the information you've gotten so far, it seems like your ex-friend server is different enough. His one will mainly be focusing on Spanish and English, and you have that like cool mod of yours. So you breathe in a little, bro. brush the sweat off of your forehead, and less than a day later, you see this video pop up on your Twitter timeline.
QSMP is the very first multilingual Minecraft server that utilizes real-time translation.
Pretty funny that it's the exact same thing now. This has left a lot of your fans wondering, who ripped off who? Obviously, clearing things up in a situation like this one is detrimental. You don't want people to think you ripped off a guy, especially if you didn't. And Dream's tweet does that. It explains that he was working on his own multilingual server before he knew that Quackity was doing the same thing, and that they were probably just developing this concept at around the same time. The main difference between what I just said, though, and what Dream did was
no. What did he
brevity.
Fumble?
His one was way longer.
Brevity.
Yeah. So as you start laying out this great tale of yours in a series of 1 billion tweets, you want to make...
Yeah, these people don't know how to enter. It's not that they don't know how to be famous. They also don't know how to interact with other people, which I guess is part of being famous.
A few things clear. First of all, you don't want any drama. The mere idea of getting involved with drama sickens you to your core. Yuck. You repeat that many times, only to then go in excruciating detail into your entire personal relationship with just like some guy. Every time he ignored you, every time he broke your heart, I can't think of something that would achieve your goal less than that. So maybe the goal here is different. While the idea of avoiding drama is on your mind, you mainly decide to bury it within a bigger attempt. You want to get people to like you more. So you talk again about the, I think, 7 times in which you try to reach out to this guy. After the QSMP was announced, I was surprised and reached out to Quackity, expressing support for the project and letting him know I was working on something to bring creators from around the world together too, and that we should chat about it. Quackity didn't respond to me at the time. Reached out to Quackity again, laughing about the fact that we had such similar ideas. Didn't reply to that one either. I bumped him, mentioning that a lot of virtual was building between our fan base. I bumped him again, going over the timeline of everything. Still no response. I reached out to other friends of ours. I bumped him again, expressing love for him, and that an SMP wasn't worth hurting our friendship over. At least talk to me, man. I don't want to have any problems between us. I love you. I tried avoiding anything like this from happening. I don't know what the best resolution is, but it's definitely not silence between us. Still, no responses. It feels so terribly awkward to read this. I feel like I'm intruding on something that I'm just not supposed to know about. Dream really takes us into the thick of this relationship falling apart. While I do know a lot of creators who have fallen out with other YouTuber friends of theirs, I've never seen that process being laid out in the open like this for something so stupid. I understand why he's doing this. Having people being mean to you on the internet can make you quite sad. But doing this in this way comes from a complete inability to understand that absolutely no one in the entire world is gonna relate to what you're doing here. Most people out there will never read this. It's too long. They have better things to do. Most people will just glance at this monstrosity of text and point out that this is significantly longer than that one time that people accused you of way worse things, and that maybe your priorities aren't really in the right place. This maybe reminds you of the last time you thought you'd be a bit better at anticipating the public's reaction to a thing, back when you decided to show your face to a bunch of people. Deciding to show your face to a bunch of people on YouTube is a bit of a weird thing, isn't it? People online are bastards who...
I didn't realize he was gonna roast him so fucking hard. I was caught off guard by how heavily you're roasting. Finally, how heavily you're roasting Dream. It's extremely funny to me. A+. Let's keep moving.
who think they have the right to analyze every little thing about your looks, to take every feature of you apart as if you're not a real person. They might even say that you look like other people, like George Bluth Sr., perhaps, from Arrested Development. It's been 2 years, almost 3, and you still can't stop thinking about this stranger saying that you look like George Bluth Sr. from Arrested Development. You lay at night, obsessing over it. Do I really look like this old white man? So if you've managed to gain a lot of success without people perceiving your face, you might be a bit conflicted. On one hand, there are a lot of things you want to do with your face.
It's restricting on the things that I can actually do and being able to do TikToks or different forms of content.
But on the other hand, not face revealing and this imagery that you've created around yourself has become quite iconic. And a part of you attributes your success to this little guy.
Do you think remaining faceless has actually contributed to your success?
I think it has, but I think it's more of that it's unique, I guess, so it's something to talk about.
True, that is one of the things that's attached to your description, I feel.
There's a lot of mystery, obviously, and that kind of creates some sort of hype.
But any rise in hype needs to result in something, have some sort of payoff. And so you start gearing up to showing the world this a wonderful body part of yours. Luckily enough, you're great at marketing, so you decide to do with your face what you've done with your fake face all along. You commodify it. You sell your face. You start selling those weird baby USB bracelets. Weird. That's a weird thing to do. Imagine a kid trying to explain to their parents that they want to buy some guy's picture as a baby. It's a really rough thing to rationalize. Sometime after that, you want to start hyping up the actual reveal of your face. This is a fair thing to do, considering this face reveal will probably come at the cost of some level of privacy, and might as well just make some money off of it, you know? But you do want to make sure that you do it in a way that doesn't come off as self-absorbed or anything like that.
There's no way.
Do it in a way where
It's
it wouldn't
not
be the center of things. That feels so cheesy. like how egotistical is this guy?
And what better way to do that than to get every single famous person you know to react to your face and post a video about it.
Madison! Oh, let's go! All right.
You should have kept the mask on.
I do think that those videos are a pretty fun idea, especially the ones that he recorded with his friends. Some of these people have known him for over a decade, and so seeing their reactions to finally knowing how this guy looks like, it's pretty lovely. It's pretty nice stuff. But by doing this whole face campaign, by having all of these videos where people are just talking about how hot you are, because of course they're gonna do that, you know, they're your friends, they're hyping you up. You've created an expectation for a face that very few faces can really achieve. Maybe this one. you know? That's a good face. And then the
That's a
day
good
comes.
face,
You
yeah.
go for it. You post the video.
You're a
which
goss lover.
ends up blowing up very
Gosling.
quickly in the very same face that it revealed. People are saying that you look like Rumpelstiltskin from the very underrated Shrek Forever After. Put the mask back on. Starts trending on Twitter. Sunny V2
He's not gonna pull
even
out
makes a
all
video about it, which is when you really know that you're really in deep trouble when Sunny V2 makes a video about you. So after a few months, you post an incredibly weird video called "Bye" from Dream. I deleted my face reveal, and this is why. After face revealing and removing my mask, I regretted the attention and hate, and am walking it back. You hope that this
What?
will make people
That's
feel
so
bad about their
bizarre.
stupid Rumpelstiltskin comments,
walking
but
it
it's gone
back.
too far. Your friends are even coming up to you, telling you how much your face has ruined their entire lives.
This is the stupidest shit. I can't believe he says, I'm walking it back.
All this
Holy
hate
shit.
is starting to really get to you, and you decide to cave in. You're gonna put the mask back on, delete the face reveal video. In fact, you make a new mask, commission it from the
very
same people that
weird.
made the Batman mask, and you even take it to public, scaring the shit out of a McDonald's employee.
Hi, welcome to McDonald's. Using the mobile app today?
No.
The moment this song starts playing is really when you, not this you, but this you, aka me, start realizing that maybe something's afoot. So you scroll down to the description and you find out that this video that you've been watching might just be an ad for like a song or an EP or something. This makes you feel a bit stupid, like you just wasted your time on nothing. And for some reason, that hits your brain in a really weird way. And so you start spiraling. You start thinking about how this job that you've wanted to do since you were a kid may carry elements in it that you never really asked for, like
Oh my
getting
God.
tricked by a video intended for little children. Lately, you found yourself overanalyzing your scripts a little bit too much, picking apart every single word in fear that it will be misconstrued by some asshole stranger guy. You should be
Like
above
me.
it. You know
Here
you
I am.
need to be above it. But some of these comments really get to you. They get stuck in your head for years. The goal of these people. George Bluth Sr. from Arrested Development? Are you kidding me? He's an old white man. He's an old white. I'm a young brown guy. He's an old white man. I'm a young brown guy. I'm a young brown guy. Anyways, yeah, no, I think Dream should probably hire like a PR manager or something.
This video is sponsored by Casetify. More on that later. Hello everyone, today I'm going to explain...
Alright, well that was that video. And, yeah. We're gonna cut the stream short. It was just testing stuff out. We did have kind of some trouble, so thanks for watching for today. And we'll see you for, hopefully, another stream later today. We love you, bye.